Hi, my name is Tim. What's your name?
My name is Shawn.
My name is Kevin.
We're here to show people some new trains.
And my dad had a train set when he was young, and he brought it to our house. I started building train sets back when I was, 10, 11 years old, and I've added on. And then here, when I finished college and moved out of my home where I grew up, I brought the trains here. And I've set them up several different ways, and we've been in this house for 40 years, so the set's been improving and getting bigger over that period of time.
How many trains do you have?
Actually, quite a few, and at one point I actually put them in a little file so I could keep track of them, and so I counted them up. I have 17 engines, 32 passenger cars, 34 freight cars, and then a bunch of accessories and signals and buildings and so forth to go with the train, and 600 feet of track on my current train set.
What types of trains in your collection?
Well, they range from very, very old original Lionel trains from the 50s up through more modern trains made by newer manufacturers. I believe these were probably manufactured in the 30s, maybe as late as 1940. And actually, these are American Flyer O-gauge models. My first really nice set I got at Christmas when I was probably, early teens. And that one I really enjoyed a lot because it was the best that I had at the time. Over the last 10 or 15 years, I've bought some of the more elaborate electronically controlled trains, and they're just fun to watch. I have a brass steam engine that has all kinds of sounds and sights to it, so I really like that one. Well, I would say start simple. Don't get into anything too exotic or elaborate or electronically controlled. There are beginner books on how to get started in trains that you can buy at a train shop or find at your library. They'll tell you the very basics and get you going. There are entry-level train sets you can buy just to get experience. Find some friends that have done this and let them give you advice and clues, and just gradually build on your experience.
Do you collect or make other model hobbies?
To collect coins when I was a kid, I had a paper route, and in those days, people only paid by coins. People didn't use dollar bills because the newspaper was 5 cents. So once a week, I'd get 25 cents, but I'd have mountains of pennies. And so I could get all the individual pennies going back to like 1909, just out of my paper route cash flow.
Bob, will you help me? How do I set the trains together?
Okay, let's do a little work here with the pieces I've got out on the table. This track that I have here is manufactured with metal tubes in the shape of tracks, and they're hollow. And so they use a set of pins. These little solid pins go into the hollow openings at the end of the metal tubes. And you take two pieces and insert the pins from one piece into the hollow part of the tubes for the next piece. And this makes a solid mechanical connection and an electrical connection, because the trains are running off of electricity from a transformer that's connected to the track, and so the electricity needs to flow from track piece to track piece. So once you have the first two assembled, one can then just connect a string of additional pieces of track. This is a switch which allows the train to have two different directions coming in, and there's a set of movable rails in here and a switch controller. If the movable pieces are set one way, the train will go down the left side. If the switch controller is flipped, the train, the movable pieces will cause the train to run down the alternative track. So I'm going to insert a switch in our collection here. And then on the output side of the switch, we'll make a couple more lines. So I'll connect additional pieces here. And these pieces will go off in this direction. So like on a real railroad, you might have the main line and a branch line. And it's a little tricky getting these lined up, but I'll get it. It has to be very precise because obviously the train coming off the track, if everything is in line perfectly when it's running. Now I'll show you how it operates. Okay, we've connected, we obviously can go on, but we don't only have so much room on the table. So I'll put our two 70-year-old trains on here. They still work. All right, so we've got the switch setting for straight. So the train will run down that way. Or we turn the switch point and the train will run down the alternative track. And of course, on the real train set, all the lines are connected so the trains can just run in a circle and run all day.
For years and years.
It looks like he has with all those trains he had.
Indeed, I mean it's amazing. I mean, like I've never been. I've been here for years and years, and just to know of all the stuff that he has, you know, and how much he must have spent, you know, to get all that stuff is absolutely amazing. I think that most of the time, he did trains. You know, one of his, you know, entertaining, but also the fact that this was his way of getting away from work, because so he needed something to get his mind off of all the crazy stuff that he had at work, and so therefore, you know, he would be able to come down here and build and stuff, and you know, and I think that's what he did.
Shawn,
You wanna talk about
is that your train on the table or your father's?
This here actually is mine. That's right. This actually is one of the few things that I own that is mine. So good boy. It's all nice and comfy here. No, yeah. So this was all mine, and I used to, you know, and so what had happened is I'd be able to hook this thing up and be able to see it, and so it was my ability to go there and jump around and be able to play just like he did. My father ever let me just play with the train. Well, you know, I'm one of 4 kids. Now, of the 4 kids, I would consider myself the one that actually liked the trains the most. So my father would let me play with the trains if he were there. So, you know, obviously, you know, I couldn't play with the trains when nobody else was there. So, you know, I had to make sure that he was there in order to do that. To shop for him because the thing is that these trains that he has are very expensive. So these aren't things that we can simply buy ourselves. So we could never give him a little train like one thing I did buy that was trains was a little sign, and the sign just flipped and stuff. So that was something that I gave him, but you know, for the most part, you know, that was about it.